Good morning, everyone. We'll start our session. Your module 5 with respect to that wireless networks. That is what we were just discussing. With respect to wireless network, we have already seen wireless LAN. Under that particular wireless LAN, Bluetooth. That was the last concept that we have just discussed. Now we'll just move on to the one more wireless network that is called as cellular telephony. What is a cellular telephony? The name itself suggests that it will be based on your mobile unit communication. That is one mobile unit to another mobile unit. Mobile unit means what? Which is moving. Mobile is nothing but which is moving. Moving around, you need to just communicate with respect to that particular fellow. Your mobile phones, they will be saying it. Cellular phones, previously it was having. So, like that, what is this particular cellular telephony is all about? One simple definition is available here. Cellular telephony is designed to provide communications between two moving points or two moving units called mobile stations. Mobile stations, you can say it, or else mobile units, you can say it. Or between one mobile unit, that is one roaming or one moving unit, and one stationary unit. You can just communicate. Often called a land unit, we'll say it. Stationary unit is called as land unit. So this is how your cellular telephony is all about. So we need to discuss certain terminologies coming under your cellular telephony. First and the foremost thing that we need to discuss under your cellular telephony is frequency reusability. What is this frequency reusability is there? How this particular architecture is designed with respect to your cellular telephony, what are all the contents that it contains, and how the transmission happens, how the receiving part will be taken care. What is your mobility that is coming under with respect to your cellular telephony? Mobility comes into picture because it is in the roaming part, right? What is roaming over here? So what happens with respect to the architecture of the cellular telephony? We need to discuss all these particular terminologies with respect to your cellular telephony. First of all, we need to know the architecture of the cellular system, how this particular architecture is defined. See here, one stationary unit, that is your one landline phone has been attached here. With respect to that, it will be connected to the nearest public switch telephone network. So there is one particular public switched telephone network will be available. So in that particular box, every stationary phone will need to be recorded. That will be switched with respect to. Once it is done, it will be transmitted to the mobile switching center. So with respect to your mobile switching center, you will be just communicating from the public switched telephone network to the mobile switching center, whichever the nearest one is that one. Now, with respect to this, it will be communicating with respect to the one of the cell will say it. What is a cell? What is cell actually? Cell will be containing one particular station. That is nothing but your base station, will call it. From the base station, it will be communicated with respect to the mobile station. So mobile station is nothing but which you are moving and using it. So with respect to your movability, one base station will be situated. With respect to that, you need to send the signals. From the signal, it will be transmitted to the mobile switching center. From the mobile switching center, it will be transmitted to the nearest public switch telephone network, that whichever is available. From that, it will be communicated to the stationary phone. So this is the communication, or this is the system that we need to just have it. One simple thing, cellular in the sense it is nothing but based on your cell system, it will be designed with. So in the cell, what are all the contents it can have? N number of mobile stations can be communicated with respect to one base station. So it is not an ad hoc, it is a wireless communication network itself. It is not the ad hoc network, it is having some access point. The access point here is base station. From the base station only you need to move. So with respect to your cellular system, there are certain operations that you need to just look into it. In that, first one is frequency reuse. What is this frequency reuse? First of all, what is this hexagonal shape of uh, diagram that we have, and with respect to that, one particular numbering has been given over there. What is this? See, this particular hexagon shape refers to one cell in the sense. This is cell. What is this particular thing contains? It contains one base station. One base station is must and should. BS, I'll say it. BS refers to base station, and followed by n number of mobile stations can be available. N, the number is defined by you. Whatever the number that you say it, that many mobile stations it can have. The surrounding will be nothing but one cell. It will be a desired one, and it will be decided with respect to one particular single unit. And the transmission range will be somewhere around 5 meters to 20 meters. That's it. From the base station to the mobile station, you can transmit the data within that particular range, 5 meter to 20 meters, not more than that. If you are, if you want to communicate with respect to your more than 20 meters, then you need to approach the nearest mobile switching center. From the switching center, you need to get back that particular result. So this is how it will be just working with respect to your thing. Now, what is this frequency reuse? When it will be reused? See, as I told you, this particular communication network, this wireless communication network, we have already seen that it is using the spread spectrum principle. Here, each particular cell or each particular unit will be having one particular frequency. The same particular unit can be approached with respect to 4 different units. So here, the frequency will be reused in the factor of 4. 4 reusability will be having with respect to your mobile stations. How it will be done? As the demand increases in a particular region, the number of stations can be increased by replacing the cell. Reusability in the sense, see, this one entire particular cluster is there, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is one particular category or one classification. This performs one particular thing. All these stations, what you can say is, okay, I'll just try to annotate it. Yeah. This is one particular base station. This is another base station. Similarly, here one more base station will be available. Here one more base station will be available. Fine. So 4 nodes are there, 4 particular cells are there. Each particular cell will be having one base station in that particular area. Now this base station all will be communicated or all will be connected to a common particular thing called as mobile switching center. Fine. All will be communicated with respect to your mobile switching center. From this, everything will be transmitted. What happens with respect to your frequency reuse? Why you need to reuse it? Because sometimes what happens is there may be a chances of demand in the increase of number of stations by using a cell with a cluster shown with a cluster also. See, what happens here is, okay, frequency that is coming from the base station 1, from the cell 1, is very much low when compared to your 2, 3, and 4. And your mobile station that you want to communicate, it is roaming or it is moving from station 1 to station 3. Then it can reuse the station 3 frequency, and it can say that yes, along with that it can carry to it can carry that particular data to a larger distance. So that is what it will be meaning with respect to your frequency reusable patterns. Reusability can happen with respect to one cell to another cell, or the entire particular group of cells, whatever the 4 cells that you are having, entire thing can be reused in any of that particular nearest communication that you want to happen. Suppose think that this is green colored, one particular area is there, another one is pink colored area is there. In the green colored, the signal strength is very much higher when compared to your pink colored area. So in this, any one particular cell, if you take it, you can say that the entire scenario or entire thing, whatever is that, this entire cluster, you can say it, with respect to this, it can be transmitted in this. That means 2 will be containing the entire particular scenario. Why it is required? Just to avoid the signal, just to improve the signal strength, we need to reuse it. So that's what it happens with respect to your frequency reusability principle. It can be reused with respect to single cell, or else the entire particular cluster itself can go and sit in one particular cell. So that is the advantage that we are having it. While doing this particular reusability, we need to keep one thing in your head, because interference will happen with respect to that. Because see here, this is a complete different network. This will be having one more particular mobile switching network. Once again, mobile switching network is available. So there may be problem facing here is with respect to the interfacing. So just because of it, whatever the base station that we are having it, that particular cell base station to which we are just transmitting the entire particular scenario, or the entire cluster will be transmitted, right? So that particular base station should have the should decrease the transmitting power of that particular base station, just to avoid the interference. See, very simple thing. What I can say you here is, okay, you got this idea, right? So each one of it will be having one particular RAM. Simple principle. Okay, for time being, I'll just take this particular seven reuse factor of seven. So we have one particular station. Surrounding that, six stations out of that. So that's why this cluster will be nothing but seven station bunch. We'll say it. Now, suppose something wrong happens with respect to this particular bunch. The second cluster that we have, three clusters we are having it here. So cluster one will be having seven stations. Cluster two will be having seven stations. Similarly, we have one more cluster called as third particular cluster. So like this, you are having it. Each cell is having one base station. With respect to that base station, so many mobile units or mobile stations will be available. Now, suppose what happens is in the cluster 2, there is some particular signal problem. The frequency that they are using is very much lower when compared to your first cluster. What it will be doing is the entire in one of the particular unit, or maybe in the entire particular cluster itself, this entire cluster will be reusing the cluster of your one. That may be the case. While doing this, you need to keep track of one thing: the base station that is available with respect to your cluster 2, with respect to that particular scenario, you need to reduce or decrease the transmitting power. Otherwise, if the power gets increased, means there will be an interference, because you have from the one more cluster, seven particular stations is coming. Along with that, in that particular area itself, some base stations are there which will be transmitting the data. So this is the case, means you'll be having enormous amount of power. Due to the interference, you may lose everything. So just because of it, while frequency reusability, whichever the cell that is using, or whichever the cluster that they are using, in that cluster or in that particular cell, the base station whichever you are mentioning, that should decrease the transmitting power. Then only you can improve the signal strength. So that is a possibility that we have. Main advantage of using frequency reusability pattern is just to increase the signal strength. Okay, so that is what it will be having with respect to your frequency reusability pattern. So next we'll just move on to the transmitting and receiving area. How the transmission happens with this is a wireless, right? So this is not connected with any of the stations. Looks like it is connected, but no physical interference or no physical wire will be available in connection with respect to each one of it. So in this particular system, how the transmitting happens, how the receiving part will be taken care. That is very, very important. While transmitting, it involves several steps. The first and the foremost step is the caller or the sender who wants to communicate with the other particular fellow. It may be a mobile unit to mobile unit, or it may be with respect to the mobile unit to stationary unit, or stationary unit to mobile unit, anything it can be. That is called a cellular telephony, right? So the same thing. So caller enters a particular phone number. If you are communicating with respect to your mobile station, then it will be a 10-digit number. As per our knowledge, we have only 10-digit number. 10-digit number, you need to enter it. Press the send button. That means press that particular call button. Once that is done, then the mobile station that is available scans the band to select a free channel and sends a strong signal to send the number entered. Whatever the number entered is there, right? It will scan within that particular base station, it is available or not. If within that particular mobile station, if it is available or not. If it is available, then what need to be done? Then the base station relays the number to the message mobile switching center. Mobile station first scans that particular band. It will search for whether the channel is free. If the channel is free, it will be just sending that particular thing to the nearest base station. From the base station, what happens? It relays. Relays means it sends that particular signal to the, or it forwards the signal to the mobile switching center. Once the mobile switching center is turned, in turn dispatches the request to all the base stations in the cellular system. All the base stations. See here, it is coming from 1 month. It will transmit to the 2, 3, 4, and it will check for the thing in the cluster. It will check first. Once the mobile identification number is then broadcast over all the forward over all the forward control channels uh, throughout the cellular system. Once the mobile switching center is in turn dispatches the request to all the base stations in the cellular system, your mobile identification number is then broadcasted. Mobile identification number means it's a unique number which is used to identify which particular area, from which area or from which cluster that particular mobile or the call has been made from. So just to identify it, mobile identification number will be having. So that will be broadcasted to all the particular control channels which is available in the throughout the cellular system. This particular broadcasting of the mobile identification number is called as paging with respect to this particular principle. Once the mobile station responds by identifying itself over the reverse control channel, that is, whatever the mobile station is there, yes, it will be identified from one particular cluster or one particular cell, and it will give you the acknowledgement. Now, the base station relays the acknowledgement sent by the mobile station and informs the mobile switching center about the handshake. About the handshake means what? So there should be communication between the parties, right? Suppose think that from the system one, that is with respect to your cluster one, or sorry, with respect to the cell one, I need to communicate with respect to the cell two. I'll take the one simple cluster itself. Now cell one will be communicating with respect to cell two. What it will be doing? The first step is from the cell one. It is in the mobile station itself. So what it will be doing is it will be just dialing the particular number. It will be just keeping quiet. After dialing the number, it will just press that particular call button. Once the call button is pressed, the call will be transmitted to the nearest base station that is available in this cell. Once it is done, with respect to this station, it will check for whether the mobile identification number that is available with respect to the mobile station that is surrounding in this cell or not. If it is not so, it will transmit to the mobile switching center. Once it is transmitted to the mobile switching center, it will be transmitting, or it will be just sending that particular request to all the nearest cells that it will be containing. Cells, base station, it will be containing. Any one base station can respond to that particular message. Once that is done, at that particular point of time, your message switching center will get an acknowledgement saying that the handshake property is completed. That means sending, that is RTS was that is request to send, and then CTS, that is clear to send signal. After that, the data can be transmitted, right? So that is called as handshake signal. So with respect to that, both the parties need to agree. That's what it says. If both the parties are agreeing, then you can just communicate. Then your message switching center assign an unused voice channel to the call, and call is established. This is with respect to your transmission. With respect to your receiving at the other particular end, all the idle mobile stations continuously listening to the paging signal to detect messages directed at them. That is, mobile identification number will be broadcasted, right? That is called as paging. That's what we have just seen it. With respect to that particular signal, everyone else who is in the idle state will be just trying to listen to it. When a call is placed to a mobile station, packet is sent to the home, receivers, home, mobile switching center to find out where it is. Suppose if it is available in the cluster 2, cluster 3 or cluster 4, then Your mobile switching center, wherever is that will be receiving a particular packet. With respect to that particular packet, it will be sending back to the base station in its current cell. In its current cell, it will be sending the packet. When it which then sends a broadcast on the paging channel. That means it will be once again broadcasting that particular signal, saying that I'm ready to listen to whatever the signal that you are having it, or I'm the one who you are looking forward, and it will be broadcasted to the message switching center. Once the message switching center will be receiving this particular type of messages, it will be transmitted to the nearest cell. In the cell, in the particular cell, whatever the cell that you are having it, in that it will be transmitted to the mobile station. In response, a voice channel is assigned and ringing starts at the mobile station. This is what it happens with respect to your receiving end. If you have any doubt, we can just clarify it. Any doubt is that? With respect to frequency reuse pattern happens to be taken care whenever you are having a weak signal strength. Whenever you are having the weak signal strength, or you want to increase the strength of the signal at that particular point of time, you can reuse the frequencies that is available in one cluster or in one cell from the other cell. That is possible. Transmission, it happens, it is common thing is how your particular call establishment will be happening with respect to, or the transmission of the data will take place from one particular mobile line to another particular mobile. It is as good as you are dialing a particular, you're opening a application where you're dialing the number. After dialing the number, it's a 10-digit number with respect to mobile phones. With respect to your landline phones, it will be decided. With respect to the code that you are having it, that is location code followed by your particular number. 6-digit, it can be somewhere they will be saying 5 digits. It purely depends. Normally, on an average, 10-digit number it will be having. So with respect to that particular number, once it is dialed, it will be just transmitting that particular call to the nearest base station that is available in the cell. From the base station, it will be taking care with respect to all the particular nearest mobile stations help, and it will be just broadcasting a message. Once that particular broadcast message is received with respect to, or once any one of the nearest mobile station that is available in the cell, if it responds, then the call will be established over there. Otherwise, it will send to the mobile switching center. Once it is receives to the once it reaches to the mobile switching center, once again mobile switching center will be transmitting or broadcasting the mobile identification number to nearest cells. From nearest cells base station only, not with respect to the mobile station. It will be transmitting to the nearest cell base station. From the base station, once again, it will be broadcasted to the surrounding mobile stations. If anyone responds to the request, then a call will be established. The reverse procedure, that is, after responding to it, it will be responding to the nearest base station that is available in the cell. From that cell, it will be broadcasted to the mobile switching center. From the mobile switching center, which particular fellow has been called to that particular base station, in that cell base station, it will be transmitting. From the base station, once again, it will be coming back to the mobile station. So this is the common procedure that we'll be using with respect to your transmission and receiving of a call with respect to your cellular system. Next one is mobility. These two, whatever is available with respect to handoff and roaming is there, right? So these two will be nothing but your, it speaks about the mobility. This is mobility. Plays a vital role. Roaming, you know something about that. So it is a mobile one. So that means from one particular geographic location to another geographic location, if you are just transmitting, means it is based on the location management, how this particular thing will be done. In the similar fashion, you will be having the handoff also. What is this handoff is nothing, or what is this handoff is all about? A mobile station is assigned a home network. A mobile station is assigned a home network. Just clear all these. Okay. So now each mobile station, say for example, here one particular mobile station will be there. Here also one mobile station you will be having it. here also one mobile station. In the cell, you will be having n number of mobile stations. It is not necessary that only one mobile station need to have. So in this, each one of it, one mobile station is assigned as a home network, commonly known as location area. That means it is in the same particular group. In the base station, with respect to the cell 3, you have the mobile station. That means this is a home network. So when an mobile station, okay, 10 minutes is there. Within the 10 minutes, I need to just finish off these 2 points. Okay, we'll just see it. When a mobile station migrates out of its current base station, say for example, here one base station will be there. If that particular mobile station moves to the second cell, understanding it, moves to the second cell, then there is a mobility, right? So by leaving the footprint to another, a procedure is performed to maintain the surface continuity. See here, once it moves from this particular cell 3 to cell 2, then the base station of the cell 3 should communicate with respect to base station of 2 in order to continue the call that you are having it. The communication should happen. It should not fall down. So if you are maintaining that, then that principle is called as handoff management. That is handing over the base station, or sorry, mobile station that is present in one particular cell to the mobile station that it wants to move. So it can move over to the one cluster, or it can move away from that particular cluster also, from which particular station to another station. If you are moving it, depending on that, you will be just setting that particular communication. The connection should not be disconnected, it should continue. For that, handoff management is used. An agent in the home network called the home agent keeps track of the current location of the mobile station. The mobile station where it is available, that particular thing, it would need to keep track of it, the location. That is called as location management. Together, this particular handoff and that location management will be handled by a roaming partner. Where it is, depending on the geographical area, that representation is roaming, whereas handoff from one particular station to another station, how it will be moving. Normally, with respect to your handoff principle, it will be just saying that at any instant, each mobile station is logically in a cell and under the control of one particular cell's base station. When a mobile station moves out of a cell, the base station notices the mobile station signal fading away. Fading away means it is going out of it. Fading away in the sense it is nothing but it is going out of it. So based on that, it will be just identifying the neighbor's base station, and the report will be sent to the whichever the base station is getting the highest signal of that particular mobile station. Once the base station then transfers the ownership to the strongest signal that you are getting it, the mobile switching center also changes the cell carrying the call. The process is called as handoff. Very simple thing. Okay, you are moving from this particular station 3 to station 2. Yes, agreed. Absolutely correct. We are moving from the cell 3 to cell 2. Now, with respect to your cell 3 base station, it will be receiving a signal saying that one of its mobile station is fading away from that particular area. So where it will be moving, it will be just broadcasting a message just to see where that particular mobile station signal strength is high in the base station. Once any one of the base station signal says that whichever the mobile, how it will be identifying? It will be identifying based on the mobile identification number. So it will be just checking that, yes, this mobile station is active in my particular area and the signal strength is very much high when compared to yours. Then whatever the necessary information is there, every information of that particular mobile station from the base station of that cell will be transferred to the base station of the area where the signal strength is high with respect to the mobile station. So that is called as hand. Roaming in the sense, it is nothing but you'll be getting the entire particular, okay, now you are moving from your mobility is happening from your cell 3 to cell 2. Okay, so cell 3 to cell 2 means now in the cell 2, it need to register that particular address instead of it. So you are having one more particular mobile station that is coming over here that should be addressed properly. That means that mobile identification number should be having in this particular base station that should be registered. That is called as roaming part. The location will be available over there. So that's all with respect to your mobility and roaming technique. So now we'll move on to the last part of your cellular system, that is nothing but your last part of your cellular system, that is nothing but your generations. Hardly 2 minutes left out. So with respect to that, I'll just explain. First one is first generation. So we are using the fourth generation telephone network concept. In the first generation, when they designed, it is designed in 1980s in North America, called as AMPS, amplitude modulation signals. With respect to that, they were just using only with respect to analog signals. They have given the AMPS as not amplitude modulation. Instead of it, an analog cellular phone system using FDMA. What is this analog cellular phone system using FDMA? Analog signals is the one they were carrying it. They were using for only voice call communication. Just because of it, they generated this first generation cell phones. So it was carrying the maximum speed of 2.4 kilobits per second. That's it. Whereas the second generation, they just improved it because the date at that particular point of time, you were having digital signals also. If you want to combine and if you want to send it at that particular point of time, you need to go with the second generation, 2G. That is what the network that they were called. So under this 1991, it got evolved. Analog and digital, both your particular voice as well as your data, both will be transmitted in the under that particular principle. Normally, they concentrated more on developing this particular DAMPS, that is digital analog cellular phone system using FDMA as well as TDMA. Both you need to use it. Which one you are getting it, depending on that, you need to just go with it. Next one is your global system positioning or global system module that you need to use it, GSM. The next one is it will be used for both your SMS as well as MMS. SMS is nothing but short message system that is used for typing the text and sending it. Next one is image and videos. If you want to send it at that particular point of time, MMS will be taking into consideration. This is global system for mobile communication. That is what they are saying it with respect to your GSM. Next one is at the maximum speed of this particular second generation was 236 when compared to your 2.4 kilobits per second, 236 kilobits per second, it was having the speed. The third generation, it got failed, absolutely failed when compared to your 2G. So 1998, it got evolved, but later in the early 2000, we were using this particular third generation. So data, video calling, as well as mobile internet, all these three concepts was concentrated with respect to your third generation. The maximum speed that they were having is 2 Mbps to 3.41 Mbps. Speed is increased, but data, video calling, and mobile internet. Video calling concept was not completely involved in your third generation. That's where your fourth generation came into existence. In 2008, it got evolved, but we started using it from 2010. So what was the main aim of it? The thing is the speed is increased from 2 Mbps to 100 Mbps to 1 gigabits per second Mbps. That is 1 gigabits per second. That is the data that you can transmit over the channel. It is used for HD mobile TV, mobile communication. Now we are using, right? So any type of high definition type of communication or high definition type of video conferencing, if you want to go through it, yes, you can do it with respect to this. Normally, what are all the things that it will be just involved is WiMAX. WiMAX is nothing but your wireless maximum ability of transmitting the data from one end to another end. And it is a long-term evolution. That is, your particular data will be transmitted to a larger distance with the same quality, whatever you are having at the beginning. It can be with respect to your voice or it can be with respect to your data. Everything will be maintained over there. Now we are much waiting with respect to your fifth generation, which is used for streaming the smartphones, 4K media, data, video calling, and mobile internet was concentrated with it. We are just waiting for this particular thing to take over. Still, it is not evolved in the market. The data rate is download speed is 20 Gbps and upload speed is 10 Gbps. Imagine it will be more. Okay, connection will be I don't think so. When the connection will be lost, I'll just you can re-log in after. If anywhere if it gets disconnected, you can re-log in. We'll just hardly 10 minutes of time. I'll take it to explain all these particular concepts. We just gone over this, right? So we just try to explain. Yeah, fifth generation 5G.